Hi, everyone. Joanne Williams here, and I'm going to be sharing some strategies that I've used in my 30 years as a mental health professional with my clients with success that I hope will help you to have just a little happier life, a little less stressed, with more confidence. So, today, in this episode, number 55, I'm discussing how we see the world through fear's eyes and a way to change that lens. So the summary is we're going to look at world is not as screwed up as we may think it is. The long-term trends look really good. And the 5 classes of worries and ways to handle them. And this is from the 10 things that are actually better in the world than is from an article by Concoda, and how our chronic fears fall into 5 distinct categories from a pastor, Gilkey, in 1930s. What he found and concluded, and a later research study that I just saw actually absolutely correlates to this. So this really does have science to it. But what he found is that worries about disasters, which, later proved never to happen, are about 40% of our worries. So I want you to kind of notice as I go through this podcast today, where are your worries as I talk even about world events? How about number 2, worries about decisions that you made in the past that you really can't do anything about now, but you still are thinking or worried about 30% of your worries. Or number 3, worries about possible sickness or possible nervous breakdown, which neither materialize, but they're about 12% of our worries. How about number 4, worries about our children and friends that, again, don't happen. They're about 10%. Worries about real things, foundational worries, he calls it, is about 8% of this total 100%. So he prescribes the first step to the conquest, he calls it, of anxiety, is to limit this worrying to the few perils in the 5th category. This simple act will eliminate 92% of your fears. Or to figure the matter differently, it will leave you free from worry 92% of the time. So think about this now. Are you worrying about things 92% of the time that actually don't happen? I've seen it more 9 out of 10, so even a little higher. But listen as we go through these 10 things in the world that really are getting better, that we perceive are actually worse. And that one of the skills, strategies I'm going to talk about is how to keep your focus on what is actually happening in your life, and only worry, if you need to, about those things that are actually happening. Or say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to only worry about things when they happen, actually happen. Keep it in the now by saying, oh, I'm going to let go of that. It hasn't happened yet. Oh, 92% or 99% don't even happen anyways. Let it go, which is basically true. I know it sounds simple, but I think the hard part is changing that worry habit that you're just so used to worrying. So notice what you're thinking and change it around and just say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to worry about unless it's in front of me right now. So, or you can also look for my upcoming book, Bye Bye Panic or Worry, and Hello Calm in the 5 steps to get to calm. That'll be coming out in October 2021. And I don't know if you're thinking it's time we have more optimism in our lives, and from time to time we do wake up and we all the time, fed different barrage of negativity, fear information. Misinformation is the big thing right now, and keeping us constantly confused and hopeless about the future. And what I want to do in this podcast is for you to grab your attention back from all this stuff that's trying to grab at your attention and bring it back. What do you want more of in your life? That's what you focus on, not on what the media is trying to feed you or social media. Look at all that. Your attention is what they're paying for. And it's usually fixed on the drama of the day, I will call it. And, I do feel like it's kind of like a car wreck, and how we can't take our eyes off it as we're going down we have to look at it. And I think that's why they grab our attention. So you got to have a little bit more control and choice about your attention and where it goes. Because in this article, it's talking about mass media, matrix, the politics, social justice. Though it's hard to believe, we've really made some decent progress as a species over recent history. And here are the 10 global trends every smart person should know about from Ronald Bailey and Marian Tupy. And it destroys the pessimistic narrative that the world is heading toward an apocalypse or zombies are coming by laying out these 10 simple yet very powerful facts showing humanity has progressed, how it's progressed over the last century. So it's got to be good news. But so don't look away. I want you to start redirecting your thoughts away from that car wreck of messages that's vying for your attention. Put it on what you want more of in your life. Happiness, joy, peace, happy family. Do that instead. All right, number one, the global economy has actually increased by 100%. The global domestic product, GDP, has grown over 100 times in the past 2 centuries, compared to in the 1900s, with the help of a freer market, rules of law saw this GDP growth average about at less than 3%. They're looking at right now the GDP by 2100 increasing to a whopping $1 trillion. So it is growing 100 times. Global poverty has imploded. In today's world of rampant consumer capitalism, it's hard to believe that only 2 centuries ago, 84% of the global population lived in poverty, earning less than $1.90 per day. But as the great enrichment spread gradually across the world, we've managed to cut extreme poverty in half. Now global poverty stands at 9%. And if this keeps up, falling at today's pace, it will drop to 5% by 2030. The United Nations also set the goal of abolishing extreme poverty for everyone, everywhere by that same year. And if you look at just the policy of the Biden administration this year with the CARES Act, I believe it is, that they are looking at cutting child poverty in the US in half by giving child credit of $300 a month per child. That's all it's taking. So this doesn't have to be this enormous thing. It actually can happen. We're running out of fuel. Number 3. Despite what some people claim, we're not running out or low on any resource. In fact, the Simon Abundance Index reveals that almost every commodity increases in volume and availability the more we demand them. So let's put our focus on more resources that help our planet then and help this global warming issue. That is an issue. Humanity has yet to run out of any single commodity, and we're not even close. Number 4 is famine has almost disappeared. Following the aftermath of Mao Zedong's nationalization of Chinese farmland in 1962, global food consumption began to soar. In 1961, the daily supply of calories stood at about 2,100, but now it has risen to 3,000 calories per day. The world's poorest region enjoy access to food. You really don't hear about some of this stuff, do you? Today's famines only exist in war-torn countries, and those experiencing droughts that could change in the future, but relief efforts continue actually to improve it. We're helping each other. It's only debatable whether most of the food the world is consuming is healthy enough for us to be at our best, not just to survive. But the rise of a regenerative agriculture hopes to address this, getting people to eat more bioavailable nutrition while plant-based diet increased in popularity. Look at the veganism. I'm very surprised. Every single restaurant I go to, even fast food restaurants now, have a vegan variety. They don't taste exactly the same. No, they don't. But they could save our earth from all the destruction that animals do to it. 5, democracy is smashing autocracy. Following the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989, democracies have spread rapidly across the world, beating the communist and fascist regimes that had risen since the 20s. Though now still close, the world has more democracies than autocracies, and it really crossed that line just under 2000. Using a scale from -10 to 10, where -10 equals tyranny and 10 equals a free society, from 1989 to 2017, the number of fully fledged democracies, a score of 7 or above, rose by 13%, while fully fledged autocracies, a score of -7 or less, decreased 39% to 11%. So no wonder Russia is kind of kind of going for it, because they're losing ground. So good for the world looking to give more freedom. We have more trees. Number 6 now, not less. Contrary to popular belief, Mother Nature is beating deforestation. In September 2018, the University of Maryland study found that the global tree canopy, the visual portion of the trees, has not declined, but increased by 2.4 million square kilometers, an area greater than Alaska and Montana land mass combined. So, maybe it's not as bad as we think with the rainforest. Something else I heard about Florida's mangroves. If you've ever been to Florida and all their canals and rivers, there's all these trees along the edges that are growing. And I guess just that in itself can help as much as the rainforest for collecting CO2. So there's a lot of things that are going on that we just don't seem to hear about. Number 7, the world is much safer. Interstate wars have almost disappeared. The Rand Corporation reports, apart from a short period between 2014 and 15, armed conflicts worldwide had dramatically decreased. Now, if you could just get the US and China war machines to leave the Middle East and Africa, we may get closer to world peace. But a severe warmongers remain in high positions of power, and unfortunately, this is unlikely to happen soon. Eisenhower talked about it. The war industrial complex, where we build more killing machines and guns and sell them to the world, is part of one of our economies in the US. I think we need to refocus that on world peace then, if that's what we choose. We've yet to become urban. No country has grown to middle income without industrializing and urbanizing. None have grown to high income without vibrant cities, says the World Bank. illustrating how the rise of cities globally have helped to improve human prosperity. While we find most innovative growth and money in cities, this actually helps the planet. It's hard to fathom how city dwellers produce a smaller carbon footprint than people living in rural areas, but it's true. And as the other 3 billion people who still live in rural areas, they keep moving to the cities. And this will continue to improve. All right, number 9. There's more to go around. There's just more stuff. And there always will be. And that's how the world works. A new injustices and atrocities emerge every day. We've never content or satisfied, nor do we want to be. Striving is part of our human condition, and we want more. We make things better and usually make things a little worse before they get better. But as a world, we are getting better. I think it's more the way we look at things and the way we think. Our minds make it happen. Negativity, they call it an available bias. As a psychological fallacy that Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman discovered in 1993, means we love to consume the bad over the good. Maybe we are too privileged. Maybe we have it so great that when most of our problems disappear, we tend to create or seek out new ones. Or maybe we just like drama. Progress, it seems, tends to mask itself. And sometimes we focus so much on the negatives, we forget old injustices exist. We can't dispute that the 10 trends here that are outlined prove we progressed as a species, but we'll never get there. That is just the way of expansion of our consciousness. We don't need to believe that the world is descending into chaos. We won't be able to ignore the minor injustices, nor should we. Instead, let's try everything we can to solve them, and we'll invent new problems as we do that and ways to replace them. So, number 10, we know it's not all gloom and gloom. We know the world is a lot less screwed up than we believe it is. And deep down, this will give us or keep us going in the back of our minds to strive for more, for better. It's about choice to consume news and then evaluate it to see how it can serve you. Check out what they're trying to force down your throat instead and just say, no, I don't want that. That just kind of sounds like something that too many people are saying the same thing, and I call it brainwashing. That creates fear. If it's creating fear, double think that. Nope, I don't choose that anymore. I do think we're kind of creatures of drama, and that expands our consciousness and expands our way of thinking about things. But for today, how about to choose to see the world as half full instead of half empty? I think that's going to make you a lot happier and a lot less worried. So check out, how did you do in those 5 worry categories? It kind of surprised me. Those disasters, maybe it is more about we're going to die in a car wreck or something, that we think about that much more than we think, or accidents. But kind of notice how that affects your life and choose, I don't choose that anymore. I choose whatever's happening right now is what I'm going to focus on. So this is by no means a replacement for therapy or any kind of medical attention. If you need it, always reach out and take care of yourself. If you're ever feeling like you want to hurt yourself, there's always somebody standing by at 1-800-273-8255. And you can always contact us as well if you would like a 10-minute free consultation about directions in life. And I am still having openings for counseling or to do evaluations for emotional support or psychiatric service dogs. And you can find us at esapros.com for either one of those. And if you are in one of the states, California, Texas, Oregon, or Florida, I can do counseling with you. So know that there is help. I am on Facebook under Joanne Williams. as well as ESA Evaluation 16. You can go to anxietysimplified.net to see the videos of these podcasts. So thank you for listening, and please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. And we do thank our loyal listeners because we do need you to keep this podcast machine going. Bye for now.